street was quite clogged in the kind of darkness that made the city feel like it had pushed for a breath. A faint diesel turned the concrete into a shimmering canvas, and the dim yellow glow of the bus stand's flickering bulb barely held back the night. Taehyung pulled his jacket tighter around himself, arm crossed against the cold. His duffel bag sat beside him, worn and dirty from dragging it across half the city. He tapped his foot restlessly, muttering curses under his breath about parents who could abandon their own son just because they were too in love with other people. Stupid mom, stupid dad, go live your fairy tale, who needs you? He hissed, sniffing and wiping his nose. He looked like trouble, piercing, smudged eyeliner, a hoodie with a hate the government logo scrawled on the sleeve. But under that attitude was a kid barely 17, too smart for his own good and too alone for comfort. He noticed someone sitting at the far end of the bench, head bowed under a hoodie, earbuds in. Taehyung had even heard him arrive. Hey, Taehyung called out, voice cocky and but curious. The figure looked up slowly, pulling out one earbud. His eye met Taehyung's deep, dark, unreadable. You waiting for the 3 a.m. too? Taehyung asked, slumping beside him uninvited. The boy nodded. Yeah, cool, me too. Taehyung tried not to stare, but the guy was pretty sharp jawed, long lashes, massive black hair tucked under the hoodie. He smelled faintly sweet, like honeysuckle and vanilla, a textbook omega scent, not too strong but though to notice that the soft spoken vibe had Taehyung begging him immediately. You on the run from something too pretty boy? Taehyung grinned. The boy glanced at him but did not answer right away. Not really, just going somewhere new. That made Taehyung's smile flicker just a bit. Yeah, me too. Paris decided love was more important than their kid, so here I am, homeless, jobless but fabulous. The boy let out a quiet, almost surprised chuckle. You are weird. Taehyung rolled his eye. Thanks, you are welcome. Jungkook, the boy offered, voice low but steady. Taehyung, he replied, sticking out his hand. Jungkook stared at it second before shaking it. His grip was warm, strong, too strong for an omega. Taehyung thought but shrugged it off. Maybe he was just fit. You smell like flowers, Taehyung muttered, nose scrunching playfully. You must drive fast insane. Jungkook stiffened for a split second before casually replying, it's scant blocker. Same, mine just cancel everything, keep me safe. Taehyung said with a shrug. He didn't mention why he needed safety. Why an omega alone on the street was not something the world was kind to. But he saw something flicker in Jungkook's eyes. Recognition? The bus was late. They sat in silence for a while, only the occasional splash of a passing car interrupting the quiet. After a while, Jungkook said, I have a house. My dad left it to me. I'm going there. Taehyung looked at him, brows raising. And you are telling me this? Why? Jungkook's gaze met his again. Come with me. What? You said you don't have anywhere to go. You can come. Taehyung stared, uncertain if this guy was insane or just weirdly kind. You don't even know me. I don't need to. You don't lie well, and you look like you need someone. Taehyung felt something twist in his chest. So do you. Jungkook didn't deny it. The bus rolled into view, then headlight cutting through the mist. Taehyung glanced at it, then at Jungkook, still trying to figure him out. Okay, he said finally, but I'm not cooking and I curse a lot and I hate stuff. Jungkook nodded. I debut game and I don't cook much. Perfect. We will annoy the hell out of each other. But he smiled as he said it, and when they stood and climbed onto that half empty bus, two runaways heading into the unknown, neither knew just how much this strange meeting under streetlight was about to change everything. The bus groaned as it made its way through the sleeping city, a lullaby of engine hum and rain against windows. Taehyung leaned his head on the cool grass, watching street lights streak by like fading stars. Jungkook sat beside him, arm crossed, backpack on his lap, eye lost in thoughts. They had not said much since boarding, maybe because everything had already been said, or maybe because silence was easier to share than words. How far is this place of yours? Taehyung finally asked, voice hushed. Jungkook glanced at his phone. Couple more hours. It's in the hill, kind of isolated, creepy. Taehyung muttered. You better not to be some serial killer, Alpha who lures pretty boy on buses. Taehyung didn't respond at first, then with a straight face said, You are not that pretty. Taehyung blinked, then snorted. Rude. I'm stunning. Jungkook's lips twitched, but he didn't argue. Eventually, the bus dropped them at a lonely stop surrounded by trees and widening roads. The dawn was still a few hours away, and the fog hugged the ground like a blanket. They walked in a silence, bags slung over shoulders, breath fogging in the chilly air. When the house came into view, Taehyung's jaw dropped. It was not huge, but it was a beautiful, a two-story cabin tucked into the trees. Ivy growing up one side, old but clearly taken care of. Warm lights glowed from inside, likely set on timers. It looked like something out of a drama. You own this? Taehyung asked. I wide. Jungkook nodded. Dad left it to me. He used to bring me here during breaks. No one's been here for a while though. They stepped inside, greeted by a musty but cozy scant wood dust and something faintly nostalgic. Jungkook dropped his stuff, flipped the light switch, and looked around like he was seeing ghosts. Taehyung wandered in slowly, eyes dancing over old photographs and shelves of books. Okay, I might stay. Good, Jungkook said simply, already pulling out cleaning supplies after a few hours of dusting, fixing the heater, and finding sheets for the beds. They collapsed onto the couch, exhausted. Taeyong tucked his hoodie off the kit up his feet, then turned to Jungkook. He started. For an Omega, you are kind of bossy. Jungkook blinked. I'm not an Omega. Taeyong froze. But your scan blocker, artificial. It mean to throw people off. Taeyong frowned, confused. So what are you then? Jungkook hesitated, then looked him in the eyes. Alpha, true blood. Taeyong's jaw nearly hit the floor. You are kidding. No, but you don't act like an alpha. I don't need to. Taeyong stared at him for a moment longer, then burst out laughing. Holy hell, I thought I could smell through blockers gas. I'm losing my touch. Jungkook raised an eyebrow. And you? What are you really? Taeyong grinned and held up his hand like he was caught Omega. Real one, but blocker helped me stay under the radar, except for that way. They both sat in silence, the tension suddenly a little less sharp, a little more honest. Then Taeyong added, You being an alpha doesn't scare me. You are too quiet. You being an omega doesn't scare me either, Jungkook replied. You are too loud. Taeyong smirked. Damn right. The scan blocker were beginning to wear off. Faint traces of their real scares started to drift into the room. Earthy pine and iron from Jungkook, sweet sandalwood and citrus from Taehyung. It was subtle but unmistakable. They both noticed. Neither said anything. Later that night, as Taehyung curled up on the couch with a black blanket that smelled like old memories and safety, he murmured, Hey Jungkook, yeah, thanks for not asking why my parents left. Jungkook curled up in the armchair across from him, eyes already closing, whispered, Thanks for not asking why mine did too. Claimed them both soon after, two strangers slowly becoming something more under the quiet hush of a house in the hills. The first morning in the hill house began with smoke. Taeyong stumbled into the kitchen half asleep, hair a wild hollow around his head, wearing an oversized hoodie that almost reached his knees. He looked around with squinted eyes, spotted a carton of egg, and decided he was suddenly a chef. I got this, he mumbled confidently to no one. 10 minutes later, the fire alarm shrieked.